Salutations and welcome to the Critical Breakdown Podcast. I am your host Logan, and today I am joined by one of the co-hosts of all time. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Mitchell. I am the co-host. Shameless plug of my own YouTube channel at Sweet Tripod. And I also like movies, for real. We can review that
very nice.
If you want. That was like really shit.
No, that's fine. Just embarrassing enough, I think.
Okay.
So the general premise of this show is very simple. We recommend movies to each other, and we take turns recommending them to each other, and then we talk about them for probably way too long. But the shtick, if you can even call it that, is all of the movies we recommend to each other have to be related in some way. So same title, same director, same lead actor, same franchise, something like that. Or preferably a limited series or a single season TV show, something like that.
We're watching every season for Friends next episode, guys.
No, I think we'll go for The Simpsons. All, what is it, 40? So I think that's basically it. It's not too much going on here. For this first ever episode, I chose the theme, and I have gone with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So we're going to be discussing Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Mel Stewart from 1971. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Tim Burton from 2005. And for some ungodly reason, because Mitchell decided we should watch it, Wonka, directed by Paul King from 2023.
Oh, it's 2023. I thought it was... My notes are wrong.
Yeah, so before we start, I think we'll just get straight into it, but preferably we would talk about each movie individually, but I think on this occasion it's going to be near impossible. Yeah, but in this instance, I think it's going to be nigh impossible to not compare the first two to each other.
Definitely. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so I reckon for this time especially, we're just going to talk about both of them in one go. So, without further ado, which one did you prefer?
To be honest, I feel like they're honestly like not that different in quality. I've seen a lot of stuff, and I know you like the original more, right? Yes?
Yeah,
For me,
much more.
I don't think there's that much of a difference. I think that the original has better music, but I think that the second one, I like the way Wonka is presented a bit more. I like his backstory.
Really?
Stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
They're two very different characters. I wouldn't say that's a good version. Yeah. The same version. Like, it's not at all like the original Wonka. But as a character, I like how it's expanded upon. But the music's definitely better in the original.
I guess we'll just start with the character. Was there anything in particular? I know you just said you preferred more characterization. Was there anything in particular you preferred?
I just like Christopher Lee as his father, and like the reason he does all this chocolate stuff. I think it's pretty good. I personally like his socially anxious thing. I get he's more confident in the original. I do think they kept in a lot of him just not caring. There's like a lot of things where he's just like, whatever to the kids. So
in the original.
Oh, in both. Like it's more subtle in the second one, but I think it is there. Like, I do think that the second one's actually not that bad of a. See, I've made notes here, but then I have to like read them while I'm talking, so I might not do that as much. But whatever. So, when it comes to Willy Wonka in the original and then the Tim Burton remake, I think that some of the characterisms, I don't know, some things character traits, they are still pretty similar. I think he's pretty dismissive of some of the annoying children in the Tim Burton remake, for instance, which was like a thing in the first one. And honestly, I find them to be two very different characters in terms of like confidence and the other one being more socially awkward. But I think they're both pretty good characters. I think if they were two separate characters with different names, I would say that the second Willy Wonka is better, to be honest. but I can see why it would be annoying, like how different he is. If you
I'm not too concerned about how different. I think it's for the whole movie. I don't care how much Burton changed or deviated from the original. I just don't agree. I feel, for one thing, Johnny Depp's performance is he's trying something, but I don't especially like what he's going for. It's extremely awkward and disconcerting. I just don't. I'm interested because I thought Gene Wilder's performance is probably one of my favourite performances ever. And it comes down very heavily to the writing, just how much of an asshole he is. How it comes across very comedically, and he really stands out from the rest of the movie. But I think Johnny Depp's, the way he's written and the way he performs it, it's extremely awkward and clunky.
I guess I would kind of agree, but I kind of think that's the point. So if you don't like it, it wouldn't work. So I think that's probably what they were going for, because honestly, the second Wonka feels more like a character piece than like a full movie about Charlie and all the other characters. Like, it's the fact that the added backstory they added to him like permanently changed his character, and then that's why he's...
You know what I mean? In principle, I don't necessarily agree with all that backstory, because it felt almost very Disney-esque.
Oh, so yeah, it's very like...
I never thought I needed to know why Gene Wilder is such an arsehole in this movie. It just was, and it just worked.
Yeah, I feel like... I know what you're saying, but I feel like that's more of looking into modern Disney films. Obviously, I didn't look into anything that Tim Burton said about these movies. His movie, but I didn't feel like it was we've got to explain the backstory. I feel like it would be more like he saw it, the original, and was like, this is what I would do with it. You know what I mean? I know very much in the modern ones it's like, this is why the person has the name, you know, or like...
I'm not saying it's definitely not as egregious. I probably should have been a bit clearer when I said that. It just felt to me very unnecessary, and I don't know that it really adds anything to the core story, because at the end of the day, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is just a very simple morality tale.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with you, but the way that I see his movie is that it's not really about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's funny because Wonka has the title Wonka, but I think the second film actually is more like a Wonka movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I get it. You know, something I realized is we didn't read the book.
No.
We probably should have.
I think Burton's version is actually far more faithful to the original book. I don't know if the background was given. I think he added that, but I think the rest of it was generally pretty similar.
Alright, yeah. Do we want to keep going with Wonka as a character or change?
I mean, if you've still got more to say, I just yeah. What about performance-wise?
Performance-wise, I do think the original, he does quite a good job, but I know Johnny Depp's is like weird. That's kind of what I like about it. I'm not saying it's like a stellar performance or anything. It's a bit over dramatic, but I think for what they gave him, it fits quite well. I don't know. It's just me though. It's just like,
I'm not.
Yeah.
I agree. He did a job. He did a decent job with the material he was given, but I don't know. Oh God. See, it's hard to gauge how much comes down to the writing and how much comes down to him. Because I agree with you. He probably did well for the material he was given, but just altogether, I just don't see much merit in the performance.
I mean, I would say that's fair enough if you really... but to be honest, it's like, I do think that the original is pretty good, but I also don't feel that it's particularly special. I know that's probably pretty controversial, but I watched it. I didn't really laugh at either, and I knew that the original was more charming, but it didn't really affect me that much. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I had a totally different reaction. I was just watching the original. It wasn't just with Wonka's character, but throughout, but I just kept going back. What Gene Wilder said at this moment in the original And I was actually laughing to myself because I felt like retrospectively I enjoyed it very much. It just, yeah. It's interesting. I can't say I was expecting that from you, but it's an interesting perspective.
No, I know it's actually a very annoying one because it's just like, oh yeah, I like them. There's not.
No, yeah, no, I respect it more than just agreeing with what most people would say, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So do we want to like do it into like select themes or just talk about whatever comes next in your brain?
Yeah, we're just gonna flow of consciousness.
Okay, TV Mike sucks in both, and it's a stupid idea and character.
What the whole character?
The whole character is just a stereotype about like violence and media.
Yeah, but all the children are very stereotypical, very archetypical.
But I would say that each one is like actually a somewhat bad thing, at least a little bit. But with his, it's just like
okay.
It comes off as very weird, especially because they're both in a film, right? Like you're saying, go outside.
Yeah, so
watching your movie that you directed. You know what I mean?
So that 1960s, 1970s morality of how evil television is just doesn't really compute.
Yeah, I
agree. Yeah, because I was actually thinking about it, and all of the other children, I guess you could associate them with some of the 7 deadly sins or something like that. And you're actually right, I never thought of it, but Mike TV, I'm probably going to think of something later and embarrass myself, but I don't think he ties in with any of them.
Yeah, like Wrath, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
He's like supposed to be kind of greedy, but he actually doesn't ask for much, like, or dismissive of his parents. But like he doesn't do anything that bad throughout the whole. Like he goes on to the TV thing with the tech, and it's just like that is crazy tech. So the worst thing he did was not listen to Wonka, which Charlie did in the original anyway. You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I never actually thought of that. It is a good point.
Oh, I want to talk about the stupid Wonka vision in both movies. So I'm good with stupid science because I'm not a scientist and I don't expect directors to be, or writers. But it's dumb on a logical level because if you have a big thing of chocolate and you put it in the TV but it makes it small...
You got the same amount of particles?
Oh yeah, the mass thing. Yeah, like it, but we know it doesn't because they can pick it up and stuff, so yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it's just a waste of chocolate and resources. Like, you make a big bar to make a small bar. You know what I mean? Like,
I love how we're logically dissecting Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I just really didn't like it. And then in the second movie, Tim Burton basically makes fun of anyone who has said that before for the original. He's like, Mike TV says stuff about the science not making sense and how he made a teleporter. I'm like, but he did kind of make a teleporter, you know? Like, he's right.
Yeah.
Why are you using it just for chocolate? It's, you know? I mean, I know that's the point of a lot of Willy Wonka's inventions is they don't fully work. But yeah, Wonka Vision is probably the weirdest thing that they made.
Now, that's just brought me to an interesting thought. 'Cause, in the original movie, particularly partly because of how Wilder's written and how he plays the original Wonka, you're left with the impression that everything was built, pre-planned and built for the children, specifically. And in the remake, I feel like that was lost a little bit because it does follow the same structure, but the factory is significantly larger and there's a lot more going on. And you could believe...
I get that, but I will say I disagree. Because I think there are certain things in the film that, like, kind of show what he's going for. Like, for instance, they bring up multiple times that's like, why the Oompa Loompas, why does the song have the name of the characters in it?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, this seems rather prepared. And then he has this big thing of keys, but then on the other one, he just, like, finds it after she falls in. Baruka falls in.
My God, you're totally right. I'm being stupid.
Oh, no, it is a lot bigger, and it does make it feel a little less...
No. I just totally forgot about... I'll be honest, a fair bit of that movie just slipped my memory. But yeah, you're totally right. I forgot about those.
Yeah. The bubble... Oh, that's another thing. I feel like we should maybe focus on the children a little bit, actually. Yeah.
Yes.
So Violet, I honestly think is a much better, or at least much more interesting character in the remake, because I think in the original she's kind of just gum, chewing gum, but in the remake it's like competition. It's not just gum. That is like the thing.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. Yeah.
So I liked that. I also like how they interact more in the second one. Like Violet and Veruca become friends.
How they
both suck.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you. I did notice those. I'm not saying I don't believe the original's an absolute. Even though I guess when we finish this discussion, we'll realize, when I give the rating, it's probably a little too high for what I'm saying now. But it's definitely not a perfect movie. It does have a lot of weaknesses in that area. It's not very well developed narratively.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree with you. In those sorts of things, there is a lot more going on in the remake.
Now, there are some weird things I noticed about both films, if I could talk about some of them.
Yeah.
Just like little tidbits. There's like this scene in the original. This is going to be a nightmare for you if you want to actually find them. Sorry. There's like guards for the Wonka bars near the beginning, and they have like AK-47s. Which is like really fun.
Next to the bars?
Yeah, like there's like a plane, and they're like bringing out the chocolate to be restored to the world. And I don't know if it's actually Wonka's soldiers, but there are soldiers with AK-47. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I think I don't actually remember seeing that, but I reckon it was. I doubt it was his soldiers. I think it was just to hyperbolize how important his chocolates are to the world.
To bring that back in, so it's not just a total tidbit, although I do have a couple more. The scene about like the hysteria of the Wonka bars is much better in the original. You know
that? Yeah, I was thinking that today. It is.
Like, the second one is fine, but it's just not as interesting. There's so many little.
The second movie is like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
Just in the original, even though those skits are totally detached from the main story, they build up the world so much. They're not only funny, I think, in their own right, but they build up the world so much more.
I really liked the teacher in the original film. I thought he was such a weird, like, interesting character, and it's the
like very, very Roald Dahl.
Yeah. And it's like, I really like that part where he's like, I can't divide by 2 or something. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, I can't divide 2 by 100
or something stupid. Yeah, it's so funny. And the Candyman in that one is so good. Like, I looked in the second one, and he kind of just exists, and then he I don't know.
I guess actually that's probably
in the original, basically.
Okay, about the original doing the hysteria around the chocolates better. I think it also helped with the with Charlie's journey up until he got the golden ticket, because in the remake it's basically back to back all the golden tickets being found, interspersed with a couple scenes of Charlie being sad. But in the remake there's usually quite generous gaps between each golden ticket being found, and it really in the remake it could all just be happening in the span of a week as far as we know. In the original it feels like there's a lot of expectation building up, and it makes it feel infinitely more impossible that Charlie will ever find it, because we see how dedicated people are to finding it. In the original, in the remake, the way it's presented, it just leaves you're just waiting for him to find it because you know it's going to happen.
I could see that, yeah. I mean, I guess I don't have anything to say. I would say I agree for the most part. I don't think that has much impact, as you probably think it did, but I can see that.
No, I think for us, because we know Charlie's going to get the ticket anyway, but I think especially for a younger person or someone who hasn't even seen it before, who may not be I feel like it has, even if you know what's coming, I feel like it has more emotional impact, because even if you know it's coming, you're still somewhat feeling anticipation in that build-up.
Yeah, I can see that. If we want to go on a similar vein, but I'm actually going to support the remake on this one. Everyone except the mother is like way better in the second one, the remake, I should say. I love the characterization of all of them, except for like the kooky grandma. That's just kind of cringe, but whatever. Like for instance, Grandpa Joe is I think he's a much better character in the remake. I mean, I love his song and everything, but he does just get up and dance, and when he's supposed to not be able to walk, and it's like a whole thing. But also, he never wanted to buy cigarettes with the money and then like the tickets happen, and then he changes his mind, kind of thing. In the other one, he just gives him chocolate because he really likes it, like really wants Charlie to be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I love how he worked for Wonka as well. I feel like it connects things, because with the original one, I know this is because Grandpa Joe's supposed to be like kind of like a stand-in for the audience a little bit like that, because he's excited and he's telling you why you should be excited. But I do like that there's a more direct connection between the two in the remake. And there's also the other grandpa who's like a cynic. I really like him because once he gets the ticket, it was never about hating Charlie or being angry at stuff. He just didn't want to get his hopes up. I feel like that's really good characterization, because it feels like he grew up poor already. Like, they're poor then, but I feel like he had the same thing that Charlie had, so he was trying to prepare him.
Yeah.
But then as soon as something good actually happens, he's really happy for him,
Yeah, no, I actually do agree with you. I wasn't expecting that, because I haven't watched the remake in over 5 years, I think, so I didn't remember any of the characters being particularly memorable, but I agree, they did stand out much more in the remake. I agree with everything you said. I even think, I suppose you may have already said it, but I even think the Freddie Highmore, I think, who played Charlie in the remake, did a much better job than in the original actor.
I could see that. I think there was something about like 70s acting in general that was a bit, I don't know,
like more whimsical.
Just like the vibe.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not saying the original was a bad performance. He did a great job. Not.
I mean, I think
he did a great job with that material, but I think,
but most of it's really good. Sorry.
Yeah, just in general, as a performance, I think Freddie Highmore in the remake did much better.
Yeah. A little just like a tidbit thing that I noticed, and this is particularly about the second one, Wonka ruins the economy of their town twice, right? Because when he closes the factory, there's like 1,000 people out there, and like, basic economy stuff is like the closer you are to a factory, the more likely that you're working in it, especially if it's a low-income neighborhood. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they all worked there, pretty much, unlike in the original, where it didn't look like that as much. And then everyone's poor and there's no jobs. And then when the tickets happen, the dad gets fired from the toothpaste place because they automate it because of all of the candy. Like, that's why they decide to automate it, because they need more.
Yeah.
So he ruins the economy for everyone twice. And it's just really funny.
Oh, that's awesome. You did mention, it's a little bit of a segue, but you did mention how the town looked in the remake. Interesting to discuss which one was better.
Oh, well, okay. I loved the setting of the original in terms of pure aesthetics. Didn't make a lick of sense, though, because it's like a beautiful European town in the middle of America. But whatever.
I feel like that really works, though, for... I mean, we'll get to it when we get to Burton's in a second, but I feel like it works much better in establishing the otherworldliness of the story, because you were right. I think it was filmed in Germany with some English actors by an American crew. So it's a real strange mix of cultures, ethnicities going on there. And I feel like that...
Why... Oh, wait a minute. That's... Sorry. Never mind. I was stupid. I was going to say something like, is that why the people are from England, America, and Germany? But, like, that's just... That was what the original was. I'm stupid.
So I feel like...
Sorry.
That's actually... To me, that's a very cheap way of making the setting feel bizarre and, unreal. Yeah. In the remake, I feel like it's... By setting it in regular England... Well, what seems like England is... I don't know, it defeats that. You could say it helps with the juxtaposition between the outside world and the bizarreness of the inside world. But to me, the the movie is, no matter where you are, it's consistently metallic and cold, largely.
I get that. I love that aesthetically. I really like that kind of design, but I do get what you're saying. I feel like the way, like what you're saying about juxtaposition is kind of what it is. But I do get is, even though that is true, it's like it does suck a lot of the whimsy out of it, even though it's like saying that it's all in the factory. You know what I mean?
In which one, sorry?
In the second. Like,
yeah. Okay.
Even though I do get why they did it, and I think it's good, I do get what you mean, like, that it does kind of suck some of the joy out of it, even though they're going to change that later. It's like, one thing I think, the house is weird in both, but it's more, like, outlandish in Tim Burton's, because it's just a normal, like, it looks like a medieval cottage thing that's broken.
Yeah.
Why he couldn't have just put it in, like, a London flat is beyond me. I guess it wouldn't have looked.
I mean, that's just Tim Burton being unable to resist himself. He can't go 5 seconds without something with weird angles.
Yeah, I thought that looked kind of like, but you know.
Yeah, and it ruins the impact by having their poverty be so visually unrealistic. Even though, functionally the things they're doing are very real, or like brutally real. Just the way their house is designed, it looks very fake and cartoonish.
Yeah,
and it takes away a lot of that impact.
I definitely felt that. I think that's one of the only times I would have laughed at the movie. I think was when it was like, that house looks stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Did you? Oh, sorry. You have something to say?
Oh no. You can go.
It's just. Stylistically, did you notice any particular differences of note between the two directors?
I don't know. I liked both of their cinematography. They were probably different. I'm already like forgetting these things, but I like most of the choices. I would say that Tim Burton's entire thing was more industrial, which I personally like, but it might go against like the point of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Wind.
Actually, that does remind me of the opening sequences. I think just going from how I would say it's almost beautiful, like the opening of the original movie with that orchestration of like a world of pure imagination and just glorifying the way the chocolate's being produced, and then Burton's original is a really cold industrial score and everything is dull and grey. It looks very cold, heartless.
It's a very I feel like it's a great choice if it wasn't Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like I probably see the whole movie in a vacuum because I don't care about the first one as much. And in that sense, I really like it, even though I get what you mean stylistically. It's a strange choice for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, but even then, having everything be so mechanical, it really defeats. We've already discussed juxtaposition, but it makes the factory feel far less magical because it's just a regular factory with some weird fixtures. Yeah,
I know what you mean. I think it reflects Wonka, though. Like the different way that he is, and I think it reflects that. Like, he's not really that whimsical. It's like this fake kind of like, he's eccentric, but he's very sad. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah, I can say that.
I do think that the 2005 version is very much a character piece on Wonka more than anything else.
Yeah.
So I think that works, but I do know what you mean. Like, it's just not really Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But yeah.
Okay. You were mentioning the cinematography, and I think it's very interesting to note that the director of the original before then and since then has only ever done documentaries. So this was his only theatrical feature. Yeah.
That's really surprising.
I think that actually, you wouldn't think so, but I think the way how... I don't know how to describe it. How just it almost, I know flat. I'm using flat in the wrong way, but you know what I'm trying to get at. Just how real the cinematography is. It's not flashy at all. It's just shooting what you have to shoot.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, so it's like,
and I don't
documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily think it's conducive to that sort of movie, but in a weird way, it really adds I don't necessarily know what it adds. It's interesting.
I don't know. I think
I guess it just lets everything conceptually shine, and particularly when, like, in the outside world, it makes everything feel far more realistic. And when you're inside the factory, it just lets everything shine and stand on its own. You don't need to worry about flashy camera moves.
Yeah, I do
portray anything.
Talking about the factory, I think the opening parts with like the small door and all those kind of things, they still hold up pretty well. Yeah. I think the opening the factory scene and the chocolate waterfall, I know it was the 70s, and I don't actually hold it against the film in a real way, where I think it was bad for what they did. I think they probably did the best they could, but I do think it's aged pretty badly, particularly the waterfall. So I think that even though Tim Burton's looks a bit more fake, I think I like his like opening chocolate factory part more.
Yeah, I think the original was relatively low budget. I think they had a bit of trouble with all of that, especially the Chocolate River.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do agree.
But it's like not much to like. It's not big props for Burton because like he had millions of dollars and it was 30 years later. So.
Yeah,
but
no, I do.
For me, at least.
Like in the original, I do see what you mean. It's not actually as magical as you would expect it to be, but I feel like it still works, for what it is.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Do you want to talk about the music, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
What are your opinions?
God. I hate the score in the remake. We've already spoken about those, like, almost the what is it? Steampunk, the very mechanical aspects to it, especially in the opening, and then the Oompa Loompa songs, which are, I think, both of note. Man, I don't know what they were going for. I think they actually used the lyrics from the book, which is I don't think the rhymes were that bad.
Because what I was going to say is I really liked the lyrical changes. I think in the original they were almost like they were very similar. There was like, you know what I mean, each song.
Yeah.
But do the voices cut you on Tim Burton's? I think Baruka's one uses a lot less and of that weird effect that they use. Like they got the voice, and it's much better because of that. If they had played it straight and it was just a regular singer, maybe, add some auto-tune, whatever. Auto-tune, doesn't matter. But if they had played it straight, I think the music actually would have been, like, very close to the original, and maybe even better on a lyrics base, because you can actually appreciate the lyrics. Because I don't consider Tim Burton's to actually be a musical, because there is technically a lot of songs, but they're all from the Oompa Loompas, and it's never...
I agree with that.
But I think Tim Burton, I think it was a really good opportunity for the music, and I think they could have actually all been great if it wasn't for the choice with the vocals. Consistently, it's always vocals. The lyrics are great, I think, and the a lot of the actual actions going on during the performances I really like in the remake.
Yeah.
Although of course in the original they're also quite impressive, but it's just I think he really dropped the ball on the music. I think it could have been really good, and they just fumble.
Yeah, especially the choices to have... well, on the one hand, on paper it sounds alright having different musical genres for each one, but it really... Especially that rock and roll one during the Mike TV section.
Yeah,
my god.
When I was a kid, I remember being really cringed out by that one. But now, I acknowledge the cringe, but it just doesn't hit me as hard. It's stupid, but it was 2005, so...
Yeah. No, I don't necessarily mean how cringeworthy it is, but I agree it definitely is. I just mean, just in execution, it's so... Again, down to the vocals, it's just so ugly, it does not work.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Which is a shame. I think they all could have worked really well. Is there anything? I just can't really think of anything else to compare. You probably can.
This isn't a comparison, but there was something in the remake which really bugged me. You probably won't remember. I'll put the sound effect up in post when I'm talking about it. But during the establishing shots, when the titles for whatever location we were in were appearing, they used a very fancy digital effect, which you would only expect from a late 2000s action movie or like a Roland Emmerich movie. It was very bizarre. I don't know. It's like it was from a different movie. I don't know why they chose to do that.
I completely must have not noticed, because I couldn't even begin to guess what you're talking about. But
yeah. I don't blame you for not noticing. It just, that of all things really got on my nerves, because I just didn't...
Yeah.
It has a relatively consistent style and tone, but that did not match it at all. I don't know why that was included.
One thing I will say, just like about near the end of the movie, is that I did really like Christopher Lee's performance, and I like Father as a character. I do think that they go a little bit overboard with Wonka and the family thing, because he's like, you can't let the family in, and I get like the difference between, there's even the exact line, it's like, of course you can't, like, the really enthusiastic thing the original Wonka does.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. I think they go slightly too far there, because it's not his family. Something I noted in my notes, though, is that he says that he will look after Charlie. So I wonder if subconsciously, and I don't know if Tim Burton thought to do this or not, but if Wonka actually wants to be a father himself, in a way, because of how things turned out with him. Because he's like, he wants someone to be like him.
To be a better father than his father. Yeah,
and he wants someone to be like him, because he thinks grown-ups can't run the factory like he can, like no one understands. So it's almost like it's like a literal passing the torch, not just in the way where he wants a kid to run the factory. I think he wants to like make an impact on someone. You know what I mean? I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I liked that. You know what I mean?
I guess it's very possible. I just have to, about all of that, just ignoring just the character behind it, I feel like having an epilogue in the movie, like they did in the remake, really weakens the impact of the entire movie. Like, the original ends very abruptly. I guess... see, we're talking about two different things here. I guess there's really nothing to argue. But again, I just like how simple the original is. It finishes its story and it wraps up immediately. But in the remake, we spend another 15 minutes trying to sort out Wonka's problems.
Yeah,
and I feel like it really weighs everything down.
It does feel a little disjointed, and I'll go back to saying that it's essentially a character piece, which I know is not an actual defense of any of this. It's just like, I think they do the style very well, but I do get how it kind of does, like, it's very weird. I feel like Wonka could have been Tim Burton's Willy Wonka could have been like an entirely different movie, because the passion that it, like, the chocolate doesn't matter. It's just like the ideas behind why his father doesn't approve and how that affects him. It could have been a movie in and of itself, and I feel like that's what he was doing. So it does take away from the rest of the setting. So I totally get that, and like why it doesn't work that well.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we?
One thing about the original that this is like not important, but they have flags at the factory, like people are holding them for the different countries. I really appreciated the detail. But the funny thing is, they actually used modern German flag back when, in 1971 it was still West and East Germany, and they even mentioned that because Augustus is from West Germany. But I mean, it's not a big surprise really, because both flags use the colors. That's why they picked it. Like, they are almost the same flag. But I just thought that was really funny. Like, it's just like this little thing where it's like, it looks modern, but it's not. You know what I mean?
I think it's amazing you brought that up during a discussion of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, I actually noticed some more geopolitical stuff. In the original, it's a Paraguayan that lies about the ticket. Which is a really random choice, because Paraguay is not a very known country. It's in South America, which already isn't that relevant globally, but it's one of the least known about countries as well. But I don't know if that's like some really weird subconscious Monroe doctrine, like, overthrowing dictators in South America. But I just thought that was funny. But in the remake, they changed it to Russian, which I think probably was political in some way. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know.
I don't really know. What about? Oh God, this is probably a stupid thing to mention, but what about the boat scene? I think that one in the original really stood out to me.
Oh, I forgot about the boat scene. The boat scene was great in the original. I don't know why the whole chicken cutting head off thing was like a fun fact. It's really obvious. I don't know what you know what I mean. It is very disturbing. I like it. I really like Gene Wilder, like that part of the performance. And the little song, I think it's great. I think that's probably that whole scene is the weakest part of the adaptation, and it sucks in Tim Burton's version, and it's just whatever. Because they replace it with character stuff for him that could have been anywhere in the movie, even though I like the character stuff. It was like whatever. Oh, I forgot something. Another thing why Mike TV sucks. He's obsessed with guns. Okay.
Yeah.
And there are all these like guns and cannons firing at targets randomly during one of the elevator scenes in the remake. And then when he says, "This is pointless. Chocolate's so silly." You know what I mean? Wouldn't you love guns, you dumb? Like, I think whoever wrote that part of the movie just forgot the characterization and just wanted the flashback to happen, because then there's I'm
actually glad you mentioned that, because it does remind me of one of my favourite jokes from the original, where Mike's talking to all the reporters, and he mentions that his dad won't let him get a real gun. And the camera pans over, and his dad's like, "Not until you're 12, son."
Yeah. No, that's in my notes. I forgot about it. It's so funny, but like in a terrible way. You know?
Yeah. So just thought, I don't know if they were necessarily commenting on anything then, but definitely something now.
Yeah. In the remake, it's just like a weird little detail. Violet's mum flirts with Wonka, and I just like that.
I don't, because she's been treating him like a weirdo the whole time, and I mean, can't blame her.
It might be,
but it comes out of nowhere, and it could be maybe because she's weird. So orientated on winning. Maybe she thinks, if she gets
I didn't think about
promiscuous with him, she can get in that way.
Violet to win. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
I only just thought of it then. Yeah. No, I do. I haven't actually thought about it until you brought it up, but you have made me appreciate more. There's a lot more going on with the characters in the remake.
One thing, and this is just like a little thing about the remake, I don't like how toned down Baruka's Britishness is, but I think the child actor did a really good job of being creepy. She like actually freaked me out, like the smile and all that stuff. Like, she's not just a spoiled brat, she's fucking weird. You know what I mean?
I feel like we probably should discuss this back when 100 years ago, when we're talking about the children, but I think her being very spoiled was better presented in the original, particularly because of how much time they gave her during her introduction. In Burton's, it's just the reporters are talking to her, then we get a really, really brief flashback to everyone sorting through the chocolates, or the factory workers. But in the original, she gets a whole 5-minute scene just to show off who she is and how she acts, and I think it's a lot more effective.
I honestly don't remember the original one's thing that much, so oops. But
I'm not saying she wasn't. She didn't necessarily stand out much.
Oh no, I didn't mean that it had to be memorable. I was just saying that I don't, so I can't compare it. But I think, from what I remember, the little that I do remember, Tim Burton's one is much more mean-spirited when they take away the ticket from the worker. Like, it's like she's actually sad about it, because it's like presumed, I think they even say that she has a kid or something. Maybe they don't, but it was like insinuated.
I don't think they did, but yeah.
In the
original, she just hands the ticket over immediately.
I think it was much crueler, and I like that part of it specifically.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's just, in the original, her father is made out to be extremely pathetic, just groveling at her feet.
Yeah.
But in in the remake, he's a lot. He's got more of a backbone. He's much more sterner character.
Yeah, in the end, it's
and
like
I think that weakens Violet's. Oh, yeah, Violet. Oh no, Veruca's character. Just by comparison.
Yeah. Something that I noticed that they completely removed. I just remembered this. You're gonna have to make like a tidbit section. In the original, Willy Wonka speaks like French, German, and something else. But he's
Latin, maybe.
But he speaks German once Augustus is gone. Like, it's pretty close after that. Like, it's very. I feel like it's a conscious choice. I really like that because then no one in the room can understand him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I like that.
I just feel like, I know you keep saying the remake is more of a character piece, but I feel like just in terms of personality, Wilder in the original had so much more going on. He was a lot more compelling to me, just the way he was acting, the way he was treating everyone. Like in the boat scene, you don't know whether he's actually a sociopath who's going to kill these people or whether he's just messing with them.
Yeah.
Like with Johnny Depp, he's just a weirdo, and I don't see beyond his backstory. I don't see much more going on there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could agree. The thing that I would say is I feel like it's a weird mix between the remake Wonka wanting not to care or being dismissive, but then also wanting approval. Like at certain points he's very rude, and then in other parts he acts very awkwardly, and like there's like this weird thing where he does like he's trying to be cool in front of Mike TV and says like a bunch of lame phrases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like with children.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because he didn't have much of a childhood. Like, you know what I mean?
I'd say actually
to approve the children.
The way
they're annoying children. You know, Veruca.
Yeah. The way he performs in the remake actually might give. You've already disproved it, but it gives a little more credence to the fact that maybe he didn't plan all of this out, because in the original it's abundantly clear he's treating everyone the way he is because he probably knows he's going to get rid of them and he doesn't care for them at all. But in the remake, he's just treating you get the impression he's treating everyone like that because he's just a nervous weirdo.
Yeah, I could see that a bit because it is a little less clear. So it's not as implemented as well. One like final thing about character, even though I swear I've gone over it 1,000 times, I think it's in the remake. Augustus talks about like the flavors of the chocolate.
Yeah,
I like that because it's like he's not just a glutton. He's like he actually appreciates food,
like a connoisseur.
Yeah, like
yeah,
he's not just a pig. Like he actually understands what makes good chocolate. And I kind of wish that was expanded on, but I know that, of course, he was going to get, destroyed immediately. Actually, honestly, they probably could have switched around the order. I don't think it would have mattered that much. You know what I mean? But, like, besides being rude, I don't think he was that bad, and I liked how, like, that was more complex in the remake. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like they worked harder on, like, making the stereotypes a little less stereotypical and a little more real. In the remake.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, but I think the strength of the original is how simple it is. Like I said, it feels like almost like a Brothers Grimm fairy tale, but with less blood and anti-Semitism. Just how all of the children's characters are just there to represent a particular sin or a poor habit. And yeah, I definitely agree. Generally, you would want stronger characters for these sorts of things, but I think the story still holds up with just very basic characters because that's all we're here for. It's just teaching children what not to do or how not to act.
I agree in the sense that that's the purpose of the original movie and the book. I mean, I can look through my notes, but I think that's probably everything that's super important. In the original, Violet's father is like a cars salesman, and he keeps trying to sell cars because of the daughter, and I liked that because he's like very clearly exploiting her, and it's like the teacher says that they have to study for a test, but the test is going to be on Monday, and the study is going to be on Friday.
Yeah,
in the original.
No, oh my god, Friday's pop quiz, which tests on everything we've learned this week. I'm going to move it to Monday before we've learned anything, but that doesn't matter because it's already Tuesday.
Right. Both movies, for some reason, one of the parents is just a geography teacher to justify the Lumperland thing, even though...
Oh yeah, Mike TV's.
Yeah, Mike TV's in the remake. It doesn't really seem like it matters.
No.
Like, I don't know. Maybe that's in the book. I genuinely don't know.
As though we wouldn't... You know what, actually, that is another thing. Again, it comes down to Wilder's character being very unpredictable, but in the original, we have no idea if any of the crap he's spouting about Lumperland and all the... Nosberries and the... I can't remember all those weird creatures he brings up.
Like innuendos and stuff, but anyway... Like, they sound rather, like... But yeah.
Yeah, they could be. But see, again, I feel like destroying that ambiguity takes a lot away from the character and just from the story in general.
Yeah.
I just feel like a very weird choice, because we didn't need to see that flashback.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't really think about that, because I forgot to say, but I do like those scenes a little bit. I don't think they're, like, super great, but they're alright. But I know what you mean. Yeah, it does kind of take away from it a little bit. Something that's really weird about that one, I guess technically it's both though, is it's like, why did he just like... He's basically put these people into slavery, because I know cocoa beans aren't like the least... Like, it's not like he's paying them in literal peanuts or like paper slips. But it's pretty close to wage slavery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're not worth as much as a paycheck is. You know what I mean? Like, they're worth a lot to them because they don't understand the economy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very icky.
So I think thinking about that makes the original a lot more amusing in a very sick sort of way. Like, you don't know, this guy could have just taken a bunch of slaves and painted them up like that, and we have no idea what this man's doing. Like, just taking away that ambiguity, it just takes away so much of what makes that character really bizarrely interesting.
Oh, right. In the original, I already talked about Grandpa Joe kind of not being that good. But he like complains about Baruka and the other kids not listening to the point where he's quite angry about it, and then he doesn't listen to Wonka and drinks the thing. And I know that's like part of his character, but it just kind of pisses me off that he never gets his come up.
I think in the original, Grandpa Joe is meant to represent the devil on Charlie's shoulder. I know that won't help you at all, but that's his function as a character. He does come across as a little bit slimy and hypocritical.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably like everything, unless you have like something. God. I kind of liked the narration in the remake because it felt like a book, but it was a bit tacky. I'll say that.
Yeah, I do see that, but again, I don't know. Like most of the stylistic choices, I don't know if it necessarily adds much to the story.
Yeah, that's fair. One little bit of symbolism I saw is that in the remake, when he first has the factory and things are going well, it's actually a lot lighter. It's closer to a grey or white, or at least a dark grey or light grey. Sorry. And then when he gets when he closes the factory, it becomes really dark. It like almost represents like the character change. Problem is we don't get much insight into the things that happened between him shutting and not. Like, we know he's very bitter about the people trying to steal his recipes and how they eventually did, but it's not really expanded on much. So actually, that's one part of characterization where I feel like Burton kind of fell off there. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice that. It's a cool detail. I'll go back and look at that. Okay. I don't think so. You've run out of stuff.
I'm looking through my notes. Yeah, not really. I don't think there's anything. Oh, part of your thing about him not knowing. I looked through one of my notes. He has a painting that I think it's supposed to be the mother, because it's mentioned as soon as the mother is spoken about, of Baruka's mother. Like they throw a painting down. I might be wrong. It might just be a woman, and not the mother specifically. But I think it is.
Wait, who? This is the remake.
Baruka's, so the throwing things down the trash in thing in the movie, they throw a painting when they talk about the mum, and I think it actually is the mum, but it might just be a random one.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that either.
Not sure though, to be honest.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Willy Wonka in the remake made genetically modified sheep, which is like that he definitely did not have that regulated by anyone. And that's kind of illegal. Probably without.
Yeah, that. I think it's probably the perfect way to wrap up this part of the discussion. But that you probably haven't seen it, but it reminds me of a classic film theory episode. Back when I watched that for some reason.
You can't hate the Pat, okay? Calm down. Man's bad.
I made a parody of A World of Pure Imagination where he sung about OSHA violations.
Oh,
and, that
I think I
did pop up in my head during both movies, and I don't know if I should be ashamed of that fact or not.
Yeah. So,
okay,
time, I guess.
You want to go on to Wonka?
Yeah. What do you want to talk about first?
Oh, Jesus. Let's just go to the music, because I think it's the most prevalent aspect.
Most of the music is really bad because Timothée Chalamet can't sing, and I'm not like a music person. I don't know any of the details on how they do anything. But maybe someone with more knowledge on how auto-tune stuff and pitch correction works can tell me that they did a shit job with it. But it sounded like, again, I can't even figure out what key is what, note is what. But it sounds like he was on the same note the entire time and on the exact same. I can't remember what it's called. But it's like he's on the exact same note on the exact same cadence of the note. Like
very monotone.
Yeah, it's like it's perfect. But like in a robotic way. I watched a video about this a while ago, but I've forgotten everything about it. But it sounds
I think we've
wrong.
probably watched the same video, and I'm still not any more expert. I didn't notice. I have no doubt there was probably a lot of pitch correction and or auto-tune involved, but I can't say I necessarily noticed it, but I definitely noticed that it didn't look like he was singing.
I didn't notice that. I could believe it, to be honest.
That may have something to do with sloppy ADR, maybe, because they would have recorded him afterwards and spliced it over the footage. But yeah, there was definitely something going on with him.
Yeah, I get. Yeah. So the thing about the music is, I think a lot of the the problem is I've forgotten the names of all the songs or like that kind of thing. But the first couple I thought were like particularly bad, even lyrically. But then I do think
I think most of the songs. Oh god, I've had Scrub stuck in my head for a couple of days, and that's about it. I think everything else is just so poor. And I'm not a huge fan of musicals. There are only a couple that I would ever say I really enjoyed.
I mean, it's funny. I've only ever seen a couple, but I would say I am much more of a fan of musicals. I just don't watch them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just the thing that irks me about any musical, especially Wonka, was how just having unnecessary songs that aren't really motivated by anything, that don't signal a huge change in the narrative.
Yeah.
Like even just for a second going back to
there's like 9 songs and a reprisal of Scrub.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the Oompa Loompa technically has another song, but it's 4 lines, and he's really just talking to him late in the movie. So there is a lot of unnecessary stuff. For me, I think the one that stood out was probably It's Chocolate, or Well, It's Chocolate, or something like that. I just liked that one.
I'll be honest, I can barely remember any of them.
That's totally fine because they are super forgettable, and I have forgotten basically all.
I only saw it 2 days ago, and most of it evaporated from my brain.
An hour ago, and most of it is gone from my brain. So, Like it's been like 2 days since I watched the other two, or a day and a half, whatever. And I remember a lot more about them than Wonka. So
see, that's what I have to say. As much as I dislike Burton's movie, at least he was trying something and he executed something, and it's still, I could still watch it again, and it's not a god awful movie. Wonka did not accomplish anything like that.
To be honest, watching these three movies made me feel a bit like a psychopath, because although I can acknowledge Wonka was probably the worst out of all of them, my emotions didn't change up or down much throughout any of them, which feels really weird, because I'm not a robot. I do like media. I just don't know why none of them hit me very hard.
I mean, that's fine if just not, some media just won't emotionally connect with you. That's fine.
I don't know. It's just very random, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say most of the. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, when you compare it to the original, the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, in that movie, whether the songs were perfectly written or not, at least they all had a purpose, and there was some important narrative event that inspired them. In Wonka, there's just songs for the hell of it. They don't necessarily communicate
was not needed
anything
at all. The first song, and it was terrible. It immediately put me off the movie. I would say there's only a handful of songs that were needed, and that's like the one where he's selling chocolate, which is the Well It's Chocolate one I was talking about.
Yeah.
One where he gets the shop and then it breaks.
I think the montage we may be talking.
No,
this may be the one you were just talking about, but the montage where he's selling the chocolates, that was fine.
Yeah,
that worked.
That was the highlight of music for me.
Yes. And even in terms of choreography, that whole sequence was, quite impressive. I did enjoy that.
One thing I have to give the movie props for, which sounds kind of because it's Wonka, but the sets were like really nice, and I really liked them, like the location.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that was like CGI and how much was or green screen, or how much they went to a place, but it looks really nice throughout the whole thing. But a bad piece of CGI was the giraffe looks like shit. It doesn't look real. It looks too fake.
Yeah.
It looks like the Lion King live action. I'm roasting this really hard. They had like artificial light on it, like the fucking Minecraft movie trailer. When it was in the dark, like it looks wrong, and I hate it. Why does it look wrong?
I do agree. I think probably cinematography was probably the best part of this movie. Not that it was anything special, but it was decent. It was competent.
That being said, you would expect that from a musical that is a film, so it's not saying.
Yeah,
but I do agree.
I think the best song in the whole movie was actually when he sung "In a World of Pure Imagination" at the very end.
Really? I thought that was. I mean, it's probably one of the best times he sings, besides like maybe one or two. But
I'm not saying in terms of singing, but the plays. In principle, I would usually hate that sort of thing, and I did hate whenever that and the keys for the Oompa Loompa song appeared in the score for no reason. That really irked me. But I feel like its inclusion at the very end of the movie, it worked for me.
We agree on. Yeah. No, I was going to say that, like, placement-wise, I think it was the best place they could have put it, and it makes a lot of sense. I just, from a pure song standpoint, you wouldn't catch it on my playlist.
No, I agree. It wasn't well made, but just where it was put and how it was used.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I have in my notes. It's like, it's placed well in the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that makes sense. I hate how they play the keys of that at the beginning of the movie, though, and it sounds terrible, because it's just like...
They keep doing it, just for no reason, in a totally unrelated scene.
Yeah, but it's only, like, just the piano, and not, like... I'm not a music whiz, but I think there's, like, an orchestra in the original, or at least a couple of different things going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is. Oh, no, I don't mean how it was used, just the fact that it was there at all, for no reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no, I mean both. Like, I think it was a bad version of it, and I also think it wasn't necessary. I think it gives it a grandiose kind of mythos the movie doesn't deserve, right?
Yes.
Like, even though I don't really care for these movies that much, I acknowledge their legacy. and I think they're clinging onto it a bit much with that. If that makes sense.
Speaking of that, I was actually surprised that they didn't go any heavier for the nostalgia baiting. They were actually surprisingly restrained. I'm not saying there weren't, but I was expecting it to be a lot more overt and a lot more frequent.
I forgot to mention this before, I still don't get the scratch that reverse it thing in the original film or in Wonka. I don't think it's clever or even made much sense.
No. Look, in the original, it was just a quirky character thing. I agree it's not that strong on itself.
I think, because I think it's in all three. It's like just not that iconic, but you know what I mean?
No, yeah, I agree with that.
Do we want to talk about character stuff, I guess, or is there any?
Yes, definitely. I have to say, before I started the movie on Netflix, you know how you hover over the movie, it'll give you a preview from a random
spoilers.
Scene? Yeah.
Fuck.
No, not that. Not the spoilers, but there were soft spoilers, but it was probably Chalamet's worst acting in the whole movie. That scene they decided to show where he's talking to the Hugh Grant Oompa Loompa in the bottle.
Yeah,
I don't know what he was doing, but oh god, it's just very bizarre.
This has been talked about before because it was in the trailer, but when he's talking to Noodle, I can't believe I remember her name, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
About chocolate, he slips into a southern accent for one line, and it's super heavy, and then he stops. He's like,
I didn't notice that.
It doesn't really.
I'll have to go back.
I'm sure people have seen it because I think it was in the trailer, but yeah.
Okay. I'll double check that. I don't remember noticing it. It must have been... You say it was quite heavy, though. It must have been... I'm sure I would have noticed it.
It was like one line, though. Like, it just...
Look, I'll be honest, I was probably tapped out by that point.
Yeah, I can definitely feel that.
I have to be perfectly honest. I ended up watching the last 30 minutes of this movie at 1.5 times speed.
Oh, you have a problem. But I can understand. This is
I would say I'm an incredibly patient person. You wouldn't know what it is, but I enjoyed a movie called Skinamarink, which is 90 minutes of virtually nothing happening, and I somewhat enjoyed it. Just this movie was really grating on my nerves, and I just couldn't put up with it for another half an hour.
I can understand that. So character-wise, one thing I will say, it's not like genius or anything, but I like how Wonka and Noodle, like, their relationship is, in terms of, like, they both are down on their luck, but then also it's revealed later, that they both have things with their mother and such.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I like how they're connected. I think it even fits onto what I was saying about the remake with him almost being like a father-ish figure. Obviously, he's much younger there, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I liked their relationship. I thought that was handled well. But, I mean, it should have been, because it was, like, the main plot point of the movie. So, I'm basically saying the main plot was alright. You know what I mean? So, not big props.
I think they should put that on the DVD.
As for other characters... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. No, you go.
I was going to say, as for other characters, I think Wonka was kind of just a little directionless. He was eccentric. I like when they reveal things about his mother, and I do like that motivation. I honestly think it's much better than Tim Burton's motivation for Wonka.
Yeah,
like, obviously, he doesn't necessarily need a motivation to want to do chocolate, like make chocolate. It's pretty simple stuff, but I think it's well executed. You know,
yeah,
and it brings to the naivety he has, because it's proposed that his mother died when he was quite young.
Yeah. I don't know. They all, at best, they felt like flat caricatures. I don't think there was really anything going on. At least they tried to give everyone a unique character, but I don't know if it really worked.
I would agree for the most part. The one thing that I felt was interesting was the girl who was like a telephone operator, but only because it reminded me of like the whole role that women served in World War I in America, with the, you know what I mean? So it reminded me of my history stuff. That's it. She's not much better besides that.
Okay. Oh god.
Yeah, most of them are pretty one note or not very.
Even the villains had.
You noticed? Oh my god!
Nothing going on.
Sorry, I'm fangirling over here. One of the actors of the villains, he's Felix, the one who gets sick when people say poor, which was like really goofy. He's a horrible histories actor, and he's one of the best ones.
Yes. Oh god, I didn't make that connection. You're totally right.
He shouldn't be in this. He should be in something so much better. I'm sure he.
Yeah. Also, double fun fact: the guy playing Slugworth was in an episode of Doctor Who. So there you go.
That's crazy. Oh my god.
And the co-writer of this movie and the guy who wrote all the songs wrote one song for Doctor Who back in season 4. Season 3.
There was a song for season,
yeah, or maybe it was season 2. I think it was season 2. I'll send it to you afterwards if you remind me.
I did not know that. Okay.
We've got our obligatory Doctor Who reference out of the way for the episode.
Right, yeah, the characters are mostly pretty one-note and not that interesting. Yeah, I would probably agree.
So, and see, in this instance, I don't think you could reasonably argue that works in any way.
No, not really.
So, in the original, them being... Sorry?
I was just going to say, I do like the ensemble trope. Like, I like the idea... But it's not.
Oh, that's fine.
You know what I mean? It's not done very well.
Yeah.
Why does slavery keep coming up in these movies? I'm sorry, you were just about to say something, but they're age slaves again, but this time to random people. Why does it me? Anyway, sorry.
Speaking of actors that are being wasted, I feel like I don't know wwhy Rowan Atkinson.
I said the same thing. I'm like, did he just need a paycheck? Did he want to be in a Willy Wonka movie because he liked it at the time in the 70s or something? What's here? It's very strange.
I'm sure.
No, go ahead.
If he had been put in as one of Wonka's ensemble,
that
even
would probably be better for him, considering he's a whole ass comedy actor.
Yeah, and better for him, but also better for the movie. Because I feel like no matter what material he got, he probably could have delivered it much better than. I can't remember the other old guy who is in the ensemble.
Yeah, probably. I could see that. This is very weird, but did you pick up on all the politics of this movie, even if they were unintentional?
What in particular?
Okay, so let's see. The capitalist business owners have all worked together to monopolize a basic commodity and make its quality worse and be the only ones that can sell it. Through corrupt bureaucracy, the police are on their payroll and are corrupt, and there's literally a line where one of the officers says, "Shouldn't we be solving murders instead?" But no, they're helping, right? And then the church is also corrupt and taking bribes and hoarding chocolate, which I feel like is a wealth. You know what I mean? It feels
I think it'd be very hard to. I think it'd be very hard to not notice any of that.
Yeah. It felt... I don't think that's what they were going for. And also, he redistributes the chocolate to the people. And that's he wants to make chocolate cheaper as well.
So, basically, we're saying Wonka was secretly a bit of socialist propaganda.
Like, literally, that's what it feels like. but I don't think they thought about it that much. I think it's just very subconsciously.
I think you're thinking about this movie way more than they did.
That like rich people bad sometimes, then actually have a real political message. So I think it was very random. You know what I mean?
I feel I can't speak to this, but in all likelihood they just needed some conflict. He needs to open the store. How are we going to have conflict? Maybe other rich people stop him from doing that. Yeah, he just spawned from there.
Yeah.
I don't really know how much more we have to discuss because really nothing happens in this movie.
Yeah.
Really.
I thought that the Oompa Loompa kind of sucked. I don't think that's a I don't think that's a controversial opinion because there was the whole real life controversy about little people actors and such. But I just think as a character he does nothing, and he's kind of shit.
Yeah.
Also, the whole point of I don't know. The thing is that like. The cocoa beans were rare. That was like a whole thing, but they were also very important. Yeah. So there was one guard who was asleep.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, where does this whole 1,000-fold stealing thing come from? Like, you know what I mean? It's very random and tacked on. You know what I mean? And it's just a way for him to become a friendly character. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah.
It also leaves you wondering how in the future, he would presumably get... Or I suppose he just bribed them with the chocolate. But, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a very weird... It's a very weird situation. Just... Oh, God. I don't even know... I know why they felt they had to, because it was in the original movie. But, like you said, he accomplishes... He saves them at the end, but that could have been done by his ensemble. Unless they were busy doing something else that I've forgotten. He was just a totally unnecessary character.
But they were doing something with pipes. Oh, they were getting the chocolate out of the vault to the fountain and giving chocolate.
Ah, that's right.
But you're right though, because they could have just half of them done it.
There would have been another workaround. I don't know why he had to be there.
The one that did, yeah. There's a stupid fart joke with the Oompa Loompa. He blows like hot air out of his ass, and then that's like how they flash into the scene that his backstory song is in.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Made it so much.
Oh my God.
We don't need like that's what is the Despicable Me company? I can't remember.
Oh, Illumination.
That's Illumination level of humor. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very juvenile. I hated it. It wasn't even a funny fart joke. Not that I think there are many that can happen, but that wasn't one. You know?
I feel like I have to go back to Timothée Chalamet because it's just really bizarre casting. Because even watching the trailers, I just thought this guy is not Willy Wonka.
Thing is, he can't be very. The problem is, I think, is like he's not that charming.
No.
Like he can't pull it off. And I honestly think the best moment for his acting is when the shop burns down and he's supposed to be acting something bad happened to him, which makes sense because of
oh God. I can't say that I've ever found him subjectively charming, but I don't. Have you? You haven't seen any of his other stuff, have you?
No, I don't believe I have.
Okay. I feel like he was pretty good in a movie called Bones and All, where he was playing a love interest. And in The French Dispatch, I remember... I saw that a couple years ago, but I remember he was quite good at that. I think he's a very good, charming actor. I feel like it was more...
It might have been the script.
What he was given.
Yeah. One thing I will say that was good is he did always feel very kind. So I liked that.
Yeah,
that worked well.
No, in that aspect, he was perfect for it. But in everything else, I don't think he really captured it.
Yeah, I'm really like overselling ourselves right now. I'm thinking if anything we've said is like a big revelation to anyone who's watched it.
No,
you know what I mean? Probably not.
I mean, wait, who's watched this movie again?
Oh right, yeah, no one. Fuck, literally no one.
Oh God. I guess there's not a lot to talk about, but I feel like the style of the director, who's name I have forgotten. Mark something.
You said it at the beginning, which is funny you forgot, because I never knew his name.
I know. I had to Google it before we started, just to keep it fresh in my memory. He directed the 2 Paddington movies, and
we can do a whole thing about that. Those have such high ratings. Everyone loves them. They're just kind of okay. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I've somehow seen both, and I do not remember them. But
they're making a third.
The moment, yeah, I'm not touching that.
Cinemas next year.
The moment this movie started, even though I haven't seen, I can't even remember. When did Paddington 2 came out? I know.
Got to be 2020.
Late 2010s.
2010.
No, it was before then. A little bit beforehand.
Okay.
It's been a while. But the moment the movie started, I thought, this feels like Paddington. And I suppose that's a compliment on the director, because at least he has a really distinct voice. But I don't particularly like it. And that's just a subjective evaluation.
Yeah.
I don't think it's objectively bad.
Yeah.
Just...
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say quickly, it's just, I don't particularly like whimsy without purpose, which is this is what it felt like. Yeah. I'm fine with bizarre, jovial, whimsical movies, but it has to feel like it's coming from somewhere, and there has to be some emotional, nuance.
Yeah,
but this just felt happy the whole time.
I think that's definitely true. For a comparison, that sounds a lot like a series of unfortunate events, like that whimsy kind of done right. We'll have to look into it as well at some point. Wait, wasn't Tim Burton who made that movie, was it? Or it doesn't matter.
I'll quickly Google it. It may have been.
Although the series on Netflix was better. This is not relevant, though.
You keep going.
Oh no, I have a point about the setting that I think is it's very weird. It's set in this turn of the century 1900s, early 1900s thing. All the cars are old, the buildings are old. I mean, I know the buildings can be old in Europe right now, but they have phone operators. That's it's not her old job. It's a really old job. They do it in the movie to do the zookeeper plot line to get the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why? That doesn't even line up with the timeline for Gene Wilder. If we want to say that this is that Willy Wonka, he would be 70 in that movie, but he wasn't that old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any
sense. I went into this movie expecting that would be the case, because for some reason, I especially like things linking together, and I would love to say they're in the same timeline. But
the only thing that's
clearly not.
Hair, to be honest.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they look so different. It's insane. You know what I mean?
Just from what you said earlier, it doesn't look like that was directed by Tim Burton.
Oh well, I'm an idiot then. Whatever, that's fine.
I just have to mention one thing I did particularly like was what they did with the chocolates. They actually expanded upon that bizarre element from both movies quite well.
Oh, you liked
chocolates having...
You liked that? I thought that was
not. Sorry, you can keep going.
I was going to say I thought that was a bit outlandish, and where did he get that stuff from?
Oh, I don't agree. It was stupid that he just had all those exotic ingredients with him and they never expired or anything. But conceptually, just having the chocolates do unique things and somewhat factoring into the story, very weakly,
the implementation of the floating and stuff, yeah.
Well,
that's the other thing. They actually, to further the commie thing, they straight up killed those guys. I don't know if people realize, but if you float and you start to go up into the air, you die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's they do fall. He's they do let go there. So you'll come back up eventually, guy. You'll come back down eventually, probably. He says.
Yeah.
That will kill them. You know what I mean? The movie ended with a triple homicide. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Isn't that how all good children's movies end, though?
Yeah. The other weird thing is that he buys a castle, So, like, does he just have 2 factories, or did he sell that one?
I don't.
It's always
don't try and connect them.
One factory. That's like always been a thing because it's his. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever, I guess.
Okay. I was going to talk about the logistics of converting that factory and how stupid it would be that who was going to give him the permits to do that, because it's probably a protected historical site. But
yeah,
just ignore that.
A little bit nerdy, but you are very much right.
I'm nerdy.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry, I'm geopolitical nerdy, you can be architect nerdy, it's fine. I'm sorry, I'll shush.
Okay. I don't know that I have anything else to say.
I can think for a second, but yeah, I'm not really 100% sure.
By this time next week, I will not remember anything about this movie.
Yeah, pretty much. It's quite forgettable, and it went fast, but not in a good way. I didn't say this before, but I feel like the second movie went a lot quicker than the original for me, but like in a good way, in an enjoyable way. For this one, I feel like
I can't say
nothing was happening, so it just went like like it. I don't know. It was like
again, like I said, the remake, as much as I dislike it, I can still enjoy it in that I can watch it. I can still watch it, and I can just like turn my brain off and vaguely enjoy it for what it is. I don't despise it, but this movie, especially with that running time, at least with the remake, the 2 hours Burton gave himself.
They did not do much.
No, at least Burton, whether or not I like it, Burton did something with that extra half hour.
Yeah.
I don't know why this movie needed to be 2 hours.
Long. It's so long. And they don't even have like a big setting up scene like both original movies have. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's like whatever.
Because like there's nothing to set up. The central conflict is very basic. Just wrap it up in 90 minutes. I don't know why.
It was not needed at all. One thing that I wrote down is, although there's like a level of like classism when it comes to selling luxury goods and stuff, they talk about not wanting to sell to the poor, like near the beginning of the movie. That's basic economics, that if you sell more, even if it's slightly cheaper, then you make more money because you sell a lot more.
That aspect does make the whole the angle of the villains very confusing.
It's a very symbolic form, because like these kind of people are cruel to poor people because they can't normally, like, they wouldn't be able to buy stuff, or they don't care, they can exploit their work, not because like they just don't like them. So if they can buy it, like, they will. Like, it's a very weird way of doing it, where it's like cartoonish. Of course they would let poor people buy it if they could make a profit from it. It would make them a profit. You know what I mean? Like, it's that's why I think it's probably not actually political at all.
No, like I said, it was spawned from having to come up with the premise, having to come up with a conflict. They clearly didn't think about it that much.
Willy Wonka, I'm just looking through my notes, invented like a ultra alcohol where it puts you through all the stages of being tipsy.
Yeah.
Waking up afterwards. And they also drugged him. It's not like the zookeeper. Not that funny, guys. You know what I mean? That's kind of a crime. Fun fact. One thing I thought was very random is how they picked the side villain. Like, the lie they came up with was that he was Bavarian royalty. I thought it was interesting that they put him in the stereotypical German outfit, because that's actually, from what I can remember, where it comes from. Like, it's very much Bavaria, but I also think Eastern Germany, but like particularly Bavaria. So I don't know if they did that because they're smart, or they did that because they knew that Bavaria was a kingdom at one point, or they knew it was a province or something. Like,
I don't think they thought about it that much.
Or not, because like it is accurate. They would be they could, well, maybe not would, but they could be wearing a lederhosen and it not be stupid. But I don't know if they thought about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can't get over how much you're thinking about these movies.
I have so many notes that just aren't used because they don't actually fit into this at all. Like, I have quotes and stuff, but I don't want to just say the quotes. I've just been saying, oh yeah, it was good. Like, you know what I mean? The character was good.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, why does Wonka have any supplies to make chocolate? Not just special supplies, any supplies. He has no money.
And like he's I was just about to say that. He starts out the movie with totally poor. How has he traveled around the world collecting this stuff?
Oh yeah, not just that, but that's actually a very good point. Like, why did he have all this stuff before being like the movie? But also during the movie, he has enough chocolate to actually like make profit, and the goal is to get like, I don't know, 100,000 sovereigns or something because of all the people that they're trying to save. You know what I mean? I can't remember the actual number because they'd never say it.
Yeah.
And it sounded like they were gonna get to that goal. Yeah. Oh, it was 10,000 for each, and it was like 6, and it was like 30,000 for the girl.
So yeah, I think so.
Like, I know they get some giraffe's milk, but that's not enough to make chocolate, like a lot of chocolate, or even I don't know the process of making chocolate. But you know, he shouldn't have enough.
A lot of dairy.
Yeah, he shouldn't have enough product to make enough chocolate to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Just regular chocolate. Like, he shouldn't. Like, this would be like in a game when you're micromanaging, where you like sell one item like 1,000 times because it's all you have. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why does he have all the good stuff at the beginning? It doesn't really. He should be making very little profit until he buys something that makes him be able to make more money. It's just not how capitalism works. Anyway, sorry.
I have to ask you, since you've only just seen it, you probably don't remember, but I think they mentioned at some point that Olivia Colman's character, who played the lady running the boarding house, that she poisoned his chocolates. Am I right? Because I don't remember that being established.
They say it happened. Like, they say, okay, so the shop gets destroyed because that happens, because the chocolate gets poisoned.
Oh no, I remember that, but I don't.
It was her. They do say it, but it's done clumsily. Yeah. Like, it's done.
Okay, so that's what I'm thinking, because I remembered they said it was her, but I don't recall it was ever established by the movie, unless I'm just forgetting something.
I might have forgotten too, but I don't think they do. I think, like, they established that they were working together at a point, because they like snitched on them. The rich people snitched. But I don't think it's super clear. Like, they never say, hey, you should poison them, unless I'm forgetting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Unless I've completely forgotten, and I did see it only an hour and a half ago. Like, I don't think they ever explicitly said that, but they might have, and I've just forgotten because the film is really boring.
Yep. Okay. Do you think we're done? I can't really think of anything else.
So Noodle hits the wall in the vault, and it opens up the thing. Like, she just hits a random wall, and it turns out to be a secret container. And I was like, that's mighty convenient. It's just a plot contrivance.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
They're looking for the green leisure with all of the their wrongdoings in it.
Yeah.
Which is also a weird thing that they have, unless they're reporting it for tax purposes. Like, why do they have a book of all the stuff they did? I know it.
I mean, you know, Al Capone was caught out on tax offences. You got to be careful.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But they're looking for that, and then so they break into their whole base, and there's like a thing that they go into.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember her falling into the vault.
The accountant said the accountant said that the ledger is somewhere. We got to find it in this room. And then she throws something, and then part of the wall pops out, and it's in there.
No, like, don't remember that.
The wall. Okay, it's just really like, of course that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, the way that if the movie was extremely, I know it is. I don't know how to describe this. No matter how whimsical it was, in a certain movie done in a certain way, that would be fine. But I think the problem is in this one they are trying to go for, I don't know, relatively major stakes. So some stuff like that doesn't really match. I don't know if I'm really making a point there.
No, I think I know what you mean. It's a very light way to solve a major problem.
Yeah. But in a certain movie, that would be fine. But just the way they're trying to present everything, something like that does come across as huge
like it
contrivance.
Has zero consequences and it's not hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just happens.
But they're trying to have us care about what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. This might just be a personal thing, but I think the fat suit on the cop near the end just looked terrible. It's a very, like, technically people can get that fat, I guess, but it was just kind of like, I don't know, icky. You know what I mean? It was like, you might not remember that because it was very small, but in the end,
I do remember that.
You know
I can't say I paid it much heed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it fit in with how ridiculous everything else was.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just like I don't know. I thought it was a bit much, maybe. Besides that, at the very end, there's like an end credits epilogue. The comedian gets his ex-wife back. I thought that was worth noting, even though it's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And the evil, the guy who's supposed to be German but isn't. They
drink all the poisons.
Yeah.
Before they're arrested.
There's like a scene earlier where he's like, "You've really got something to the comedian." I just thought, like, why is that supposed to be funny? You know what I mean? He's not been funny the whole movie, but then for some reason he's successful. But then there's an epilogue where it's about the two evil people, and they drink all of the poison.
Yeah.
Stuff, and there's just like a terrible shit joke that I really hated. Like, I'm on the toilet, and then I'm like, oh, I need a wipe, and then I'm like, oh no, more coming's out. Yeah. I hate that I just said those words. It's so it's so stupid, and they put that at the very end of their movie, like the end credit epilogue things. Like, I'm thinking back to things in like a Toy Story, right? They're supposed to be these lovingly created little bits where the camera kind of goes away a little bit, and it's just like about the journey the actors and the director and the writers all went on together, because they like each other by the end, unless it's a terrible production. And it's just like the most boring, lame, disgusting joke. And it just... by mentioning
the comedian, you actually reminded me of something we didn't get to again when we talked about the characters, but they're all established to have particular traits, and in the final, let's call it the heist scene, in any other movie like that, you would have built up all of their special traits, and then they finally get to use them. Yeah, and I guess that technically happens, but they don't really establish anything.
The comedian used his in a really way that I thought it wouldn't even work, like it was really goofy. You know what I mean?
Like, anyone could have done that, though. That's like... He didn't have to be a comedian to make a fake phone call.
Yeah, no, it was very whatever. And then the girl used her connections with the telephone station to find the mom. But like, I feel like anyone could have done that. And if there's only if we're just talking like statistics, I said there's only like 105 whatever first, was it Georgia Smith or something? I don't remember. Georgina Smith, I think it was. It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
But the mum, right, there's only 105 of them. Well, then you like sort, how old are these people? And then it's like, ethnicity stuff. And then you could probably find them like pretty quickly. And then you go, hey, did you ever have a daughter that died? Like, they didn't need the telephone people to do that. Not really.
No.
You know what I mean? They could have figured it out. You know what I mean? I guess they would know there was only 105 without them, but their special skills weren't like needed. You know what I mean?
No.
They weren't needed, like, at all.
Okay. I know we said this 10 minutes ago, but now do we think we're done? Or have you still got more?
I don't think there's anything worth saying besides that. You said you wanted to do like a rating of them or something earlier, of all of it.
Yeah.
Do that.
We probably should have done that when we finished talking about the other ones, but better late than never. So you can rate it however you want, but I'll just go through mine. So 1971, I'd give it an 85%. 2005, I'd give 45, and Wonka, Now, I do have to clarify this. I'd give it a 50. Now, in my rating system, a 50 is actually the worst rating you could get, because every movie, in my mind, starts off as a 50, and it either shifts up or down. So, basically, I'm saying, by the end of Wonka, even though I did dislike it more than I liked it, I ended up feeling nothing. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I get that. For me, I would probably say something like... Ooh, I don't know. Like, I'm not very good at rating things, so I'll say that the first was like a 7, because it was pretty good, but it wasn't, like, amazing.
Yeah.
Second was like a 6, because it had a little bit wrong with it, but I did quite like... No, 6.5. Because I did like it, but there was definitely some problems there. And when it comes to Wonka, I would probably say like a 5. I said that when I was like halfway through the movie. I said it was like a 5.
Okay.
Or maybe a 4.5, because it's a film. It has some like creative integrity. Like it is a piece of art in the technical form. It has characters, and I cared about some of them. And it has a story with relationships that make enough sense to work together.
Yeah, okay.
It's okay.
This is probably going to be a nightmare to edit. Definitely
Yeah.
realised some stuff that we can work on for next time, but I think it was alright for a first go.
Yeah, maybe we should, like, label, different, like, the things we're talking about, like, character, plot, like...
Yeah, definitely.
Something like...
But before we go, or before we finish up and stop recording, next episode, it's your turn to pick what we watch. So, have you decided on anything?
So I was thinking, when it comes to movie stuff, because I don't think we're really ready for a series. Probably.
Not quite yet.
I would say I'm thinking Kingsman, because I already watched them like a month ago, and you've never watched them. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like that works because people care about the first one. There's like a whole thing with the second one, and I feel like it makes sense to do.
Yeah, I'm interested to do that. So all three, including the prequel?
There's a prequel?
Yeah, I think it's called The King's Men.
I genuinely didn't know that and didn't watch it, so I guess I'll have to watch it for this. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I didn't even know that.
Okay, so for the 5 of you watching at home who may care for some reason, we probably will record that and have that out in 2 weeks' time. So if you want to watch along, that's what we're doing. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you for listening. If you managed to get this far into it.
Remember to like and subscribe, comment what you liked about the video, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but please don't be mean.
Please don't be mean. Also, remember, I said at the beginning of the video, remember to subscribe to Sweet Tripod. It's a gaming channel. I haven't uploaded for 4 months, but I will. Please, I promise.
Oh man, this is getting shameless now.
I need it. I also have an Instagram that I never use and a Reddit account. Please follow everything. Logan, don't link. Don't link any of it. I have to search it up. No, do link the YouTube channel, young man.
Okay. I have no accounts. Goodbye, everyone.
I hope you all enjoyed. Please come back next time.
Okay. Alright, stop there.